Hello, welcome to my channel. Today's video is about how to do a seamless join when doing mosaic crochet in the round. This is an example of before I learned this method. So you can see the pattern does match up, but there is a slight jump between each row which creates a seam that you can see. And since making this one, I remade this bag. And as you can see, the seam on this one is much neater. You can barely see it if just this slight line here. Otherwise, you can't really tell where that seam is. I have another example of a whip that I'm working on. And this seam is just here. It's barely noticeable. Once the item is completed, you won't really be able to see where that seam goes. So let me show you how to do this. So today's method is doing this seamless join when attaching to a base. I will do another video on how to do a seamless join when leaving it open. I just wanted to show you the inside and what the seam looks like on the inside. So this is how it looks on the inside. What we're doing for each row is we're carrying our next colour up, but just up this row here. We're not carrying it along with us. We let go of our colour that we finished using and we pick up the next one, and we do that for each row, and that creates this seam here, which, though visible, is very neat. And then that will create a seamless join on the other side. So let's get started. So I have created this chart and we're going to be working off of a base. So the pattern that you'll receive will tell you exactly how many stitches you have around your base, and then the pattern should match the amount of stitches you have. For this one, we're going to start right at the beginning on row A. So this row is a row of all single crochets in the back loop only. This will be my colour A, so I'm going to continue on with this colour. So working into the very first stitch, you're going to do a full row of single crochets in the back loop only. So I shall continue all the way around, and when I get to the end I shall show you how I add my next colour. So I've done my round of single crochets in the back loop only, and as you can see that has actually brought the sides up because we haven't increased any stitches. Next, what we're going to do is pull up a loop, bring your yarn down at the back, turn your work and pop your hook through. So you're going from back to front, and then you're going to pull your loop through that first stitch from front to back. Pop your hook back through and tighten that by giving your working end a bit of a tug. Next, we're going to add our next colour. So just looping through there with a chain, and then we're going to chain one. Oops. Now pulling your colour A tight and your tail end tight, you're ready for your next stitch on the next round. So row B, again we have another full row of just single crochets back loop only. Now the trick to make this a seamless join is to work straight into the very stitch that you have just come from. So we are doing our single crochet back loop only into the same stitch that we went back to front in, and that creates our first stitch. So I'm going to continue around, single crochet, back loop only, as the pattern says. And then our next round, we'll change the colour again, and we have a couple of double crochets in this round. So I shall meet you back here. So I've made it to the last stitch on the row. We still have our yarn attached from the row below. We don't cut any of our yarn. We're going to pull up a little loop. Make sure our yarn is down and out of the way. We're going from the back to the front, pulling our loop through, going back to the right way around, and now we're going to just tighten that, make sure it's nice and tight, and we're going to pick up our colour A again. So we're going to do a slip stitch through there, or a chain again, so you have 2 chains. Now tighten that colour, and you can see that this is now behind the stitch you want to work in. So that's what creates the seam on the inside, so you don't get to see it on the outside. So for our next row, again, we're starting with a single crochet. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochets and then a double. So doing our single crochet into the same stitch that we have just worked with, or that way we are keeping our seam in the same stitch always. It goes perfectly straight up if we're always working from that same stitch. And if you need to, you can see there's a bit of white there, just tighten that, ready for the next round. So we've worked into our first stitch. Now, how many did I say? 4 single crochets along. That's 2, 3, 4, and now for our first double crochet. So for the double crochet, you yarn over, and the next stitch along, you're going down to the row before, and you're working into that front loop only. So that's 4 double crochet, 1, 2, 3. So this is a pattern return, so we will go back to here, but because I've printed it off in 2 rows, we could do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So sometimes your pattern only comes this size, because this is the pattern repeat. So we have 7 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and another double crochet. So making sure we're working into the next stitch along, double crochet into the front loop. And that's how it's starting to look. I shall continue around and show you again how to join for the seamless join. So I've made it to the last stitch on that round. Pull up a loop. Make sure your yarn is down and out of the way. Going from back to front on your first stitch of that round. Oops. Pull your loop through so your join is on the back. Give it a little tighten, you can see it pulling together there. And then we're going to drop that colour, pick up your colour B, chain 1, chain 2, you can tighten colour A again, and you're ready for your next round. So the next round we have 1, 2, 3 singles, a double, a single, a double. So working into the very first stitch, the one you've just pulled your loop through. We have 1, 2, 3 singles, a double, a single, and a double. Now I don't know if you can see, but as I'm going along there I'm getting a little bit tangled, so just make sure that you try and keep these untangled as you go, because it can get a bit. So to finish this little section we have another 2 singles, 1, 2. Now starting the pattern repeat, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, double, single, double. So that was 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And you can see sometimes the chart is long and you can just go along. Sometimes it's short and you just have to keep going round and round. So I shall continue along and show you one more time how to do a seamless join. So this is how it's looking so far. We've done 4 rows. Yes, 4 rows. It's looking quite sweet. So again, we have our first stitch here and our last stitch here. We're going to pull up a loop, turn it round, making sure this one's out of the way. If it's over like this or in front like that, it will never sit quite right. So just making sure it's out of the way, going down, hook through the first stitch, pull your loop through to the back of the work, turn it round, make sure it's nice and tight, picking up your other colour, chain 2 and tighten that one out of the way. And you can see there's not a seam there. It's a really brilliant method for joining these up. So next round, 5, we've got 1, 2, double crochet, 1, 2, 3, double crochet, 1. So always making sure we're working into the same stitch that we have just come from. 1, 2, oops, double crochet, double crochet, go on, you know you wanna, there we are, nope. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, double crochet, 1. So starting that pattern repeat again, 1, 2, double crochet, 1, 2, I'm intrigued to see how this one comes out. Actually, I haven't I just designed this quickly to make this video, so it'd be nice to see how it looks. 1, 2, 3, double crochet, so I shall continue around. I'm going to continue around. Now I've shown you how to do the invisible join. I'm sure you have got it from those few rows I've done. I'm going to continue around and just show you how it looks at the end and how the seam looks on the outside and on the inside. I just wanted to show you on row 7 we actually start with a double crochet. So I have done the invisible join. I just wanted to show you that sometimes your first stitch is a double crochet, and again you are working into the same stitch space that you have just done your join, and just go into the one below to do the double there. So it's as long as you are always working in that very first stitch of each row, whether it's a double or a single, then you're going to keep the seam lovely and hidden. So I shall carry on and do the next 2 rows and then show you how it looks. So this is how it's looking. I've made it to my very last stitch. I shall just show you one more time. Pull up a loop. Make sure your yarn is out of the way. From back to front through your first stitch, pull your loop to the back. And then you can continue on with your pattern. And as you can see, this seam here doesn't look any different to this non-seam here. It's really well hidden, and once your piece is complete you won't be able to tell where your seam was. I shall just turn it inside out for you and show you how the inside looks. So here we have the inside seam, so you can see the seam is carried up on the inside. I could have made these a bit tighter to make that neater, but it's come out really well, and obviously this is on the inside so we don't need to worry too much about that. But you can see this is where you joined your other colour. You're going up through there and you carry your colours up. If you're going to add another colour, do what you did here, and then you can drop the colour you're not using anymore and snip that one, leaving a nice end to weave in. But just continue on up, and this is where your colour changes. Turning it back round. I'm going to continue with this. I'm not sure what I'm going to make it into. I just made it purely to show you how to do that seam. And if I twiddle it round, it's actually really hard to tell which one is the seam. So I'm very pleased with that. Yeah, I might carry this on and maybe turn it into a bottle bag or a little drawstring bag or something. But I hope that this was helpful to you and that you can use this in my patterns and any mosaic pattern in the round in the future. So thanks guys, I'll be back very soon with another tutorial.